big data learners, data leaders, and my dear friends, welcome to Insight Builder channel. The must-have Spark DML command for data engineers and analysts series, solving common data analysis challenges using Spark functions. We had been looking through the various steps of this challenge solution approach that I had presented. This is the third video of the three-part series that I had created, and we will be concentrating on the aggregation, filtering of the rows after aggregation, and checking multiple conditions using case, when, and then. These all the steps we regularly come across these steps in almost all of our data analysis processes. I felt that working on these challenges primarily can save you a lot of time, and also most importantly practicing it again and again whenever you are finding time, like having a playbook where you can actually go through all the steps. So you start from reading the document, creating the various kinds of date format, and working with null values, and then creating GroupBy and filtering it using case, when, and then. All these things, if you can practice regularly, then you can solve a lot of problems in data analysis and as well as data engineering too. With that said, the practice will be best done using Kaggle notebook itself, that is shared along with this video description. You can take a look at the link below, and the process I will be explaining right now. So what are the commands and how to use it. So let us head to the browser. So here we see the Kaggle notebook that we will be using. So this is already completed right now. I just now completed it, and I was planning to make the video. As you can see here, this is actually part 2 of the two-part series. So the part 1, you can find it here. If you click it, it will go to that. And if you are new to this entire series, then I would suggest that take a look at this particular playlist. Take your big data cluster for a spin. So if you take a look at these videos, you will come up to speed very fast. With that said, let us continue with our activities and challenges. We had completed all these 5 challenges in the earlier 2 videos, and we will be working on this aggregation challenge, and as well as filtering, as well as multiple condition checking. The dataset that we will be using will be from dataset backups. I will be using the sales.csv, around 1 million rows file, almost 1,040,400k rows file. So it's around 117 MB. This file is what I will be using in this series, in this video to discuss. You can also try other files if you are interested. The other files also will have similar kind of a data. The point I wanted to make is that having a larger data will provide you the necessary fuel for doing all these kinds of aggregation, the case, when activities, etc. We start by installing PySpark here and creating the Spark session. You see the Spark session is created after importing the functions here. Then I am reading the file. I am using info schema with separator tab and header true. So the earlier videos which I have in this series explain how to find out the right parameters for these functions and give the values. So take a look at that. And once I read the file, I am going to replace this activities of replacing it with none is also explained in the earlier videos. And then I am directly going to move this file to SQL warehouse database, so that it will be easier for me to do various transformation on this data set. So I'm creating a database, aggregate DB, and I am using the database. Once I create the database and use it, then I save the dmart_sales data frame as table, and the table name is dmart_sales_raw. So this is the basic preparation step. I am going to start the actual challenges and solution. For first and foremost, we want to see what is there inside the table. So you can just do a little select and check it out. You will find the answer. And I'm making some changes in the date. I want to ensure that I don't want to look at the time. I just want to look at the date, and also I want to change the GMV. If there is any nulls in GMV, I want it to be converted to zeros. So that is also done. Once that is done, I want to create. So with this particular query, this query has to be used multiple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a view out of this query. So by using create view, I have created the view here. You can see that. And next, I am actually assigning Spark.SQL call to SQL variable. So why I am doing this? Because I will be using Spark.SQL multiple times, and I will be using that inside the functions also. So I felt that, you know, assigning it as a variable will save a lot of time, and also make it little more readable also. So since I will be using SQL instead of Spark SQL, so I have to just say SQL bracket. So this see, you saw, I told you, right, it becomes really readable because I am just doing an SQL query here. And this is a basic show command, select command with the limit that I have done here, and you can see the data here out here. You see the table and you see the GMV update. Everything has been done. The next thing, first and foremost, what you are going to do is we are going to introduce round and also GroupBy. So based on the analytical category, so based on this analytic category, I have done a GroupBy here. Okay, and then in the place of doing aggregation, I have created the aggregation for sales. So sales is the column that has been created by multiplying units sold multiplied by MRP. So that is the sales, that is the selling price, and that is the sales, right? That has been created in this view. And what I have done is I have actually done the sum of sales divided by 1 billion, so that I will get the average aggregate sales in billions for each of the category, analytic category. So this is a very basic way of, you know, working with data frames and I mean the tables actually. So now you saw that in matter of just 4-5 lines, we are already aggregating stuff, and we are trying to get you can always use this as a for a graph, or you can use it for the presentation directly. So that is the starting point. Next is, once you see that here there is actually no order, so the order is actually based on even here there is no order. So whichever way the things are getting read, the order is assigned here. So it has no, it's not random. So there is a reason, or there is a process that it follows to come up with this order, but we don't want to follow that. We want to use order by and use the sales sum. So here the sum, I have actually sent the round. I have sent the sum of sales divided by 1 billion, and then I have sent that entire answer into round, and I rounded it to two decimal places. And I have given an alias of this as aggregate sales underscore billion. Next, what I am doing is I am using the order by clause, and I am telling the SQL to do a descending order sorting. So I see that largest number at the top and the smallest number at the bottom. So this is how the order by works. It is very similar to how SQL order by works. If you know SQL, the same thing works here also. But doing this kind of aggregation for all these columns is going to be, so you see there are lots of aggregation possibilities. So you can aggregate on ID, date, you can aggregate on GMV update, on product category, subcategory, analytic category. So there are lots of options available. So it is better to create functions. So what I have done is I have simply taken this value and created functions based on the variables inside this string. Basically we are using a string command, right? SQL string command. So I am replacing that with functions, and it will be much more easier to use it with larger values. So this function does not return anything, it actually prints the value directly. By if you give the category, if you give the value, so category is the analytic category, value is the sales, and here by default I am using sales. Okay, so you can actually change it here. So if I change it to value, if I change it to value, it will change it to change to the value, change to the column name that you are providing in for this particular variable. So that is how it will work. Just a moment. Yeah, so this is the thing, and here also I need to change it. I have to put value here so that it can read it properly, because we can change the value also, right? We have the various other options. We have the unit sold, and then we have and then we have the MRP, we have the sales finally which comes out. So lots of things can be done. The point is that using function is much better. I'm just creating the function where there is category, so I'm using the category here, and I'm going to use the value. The value will be also in the middle where I'm doing the rounding, and then operations. So what kind of operation I'm going to do? So am I going to do sum, average, mean, median, mode, whatever I'm going to do, I can mention it here, and I will get the output value. Same way I have used double categories. Using double category with GroupBy is simply adding the command and making the categories, and in the top select command ensure that the categories are mentioned. Once all this is done, so then we can actually start creating the values. So if you execute this right now, so you will see that it gets executed and we get the value. So the way, instead of sales, if I say unit sold, you know what will happen is the unit sold data you will start getting. All I need to do is change it. I need not actually type all this, all this command here. It came just by changing a simple parameter. So do experiment with this setup and understand it easily. Okay, and also the dataset whichever you are having, try to upload it into Kaggle so that others can also use it. So keep that in mind. If you want to make the functions to return the data frame, you can assign the SQL query reply to a Python variable, and then you can return the Python variable. It will be Spark data frame only. Next is we are going to use double category dot return, and I am actually assigning it to aggregate df01, and you see the value here. And finally, yeah, we have seen all these things, right? We have seen how to do the GroupBy, we have seen how to do round, we have seen how to work with sorting, and we have also written functions here which is actually made it more readable. Next, to make it much more readable, we can filter it. So for having clause, we have to give the complete column creation example. Without that, it will be very challenging. So you have to give the round and the sales, and I'm going to do a sum on the sales based on the GroupBy, right? So you can use that, and you can create a new table, and you can order by, and you can also filter. So only above 500,000 this table will show. So this is about having clause. And finally comes the case when and then. What happens is, in case of case when and then, it is used especially when you want to convert a number, a continuous column into categorical column. So we can actually create categories out of continuous numbers. For that, we use case when and then. First of all, we are taking a look at the unit sold, the sales, and MRP, because this is what we have to work with case when and then, because these are all continuous in nature. Simplest option that I found was to use just a minute. This one, whatever I used here, will not provide the appropriate resolution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. Okay, and I'm going to actually create a coolness factor table right now. So before I start working on that, I want to check the max and min. So I am going to introduce max and min here. It's you don't need to aggregate anything, so you have to just give the table name, it will take care of the rest. Okay, so I need a problem to be solved, so that's why I'm using this max and min. So introducing max and min. This value is the max and the min is going to help me to understand how to create the final case when and then. So for that, what I'm doing is I am taking the units sold. I know the maximum is 50 and minimum is 1. I am going to give each range, so 1 to 10 great, 10 to 18 awesome, 18 and above to up to 25 okay, and then finally if everything fails, then finally it is cool. I create this, and then what I am doing is I am executing this. This actually create the coolness factor view. After that, if you select it, you will get this answer like this. So you see that there is lots of sales that is happening in between 1 to 10 sale numbers, and the most frequent one is just one quantity. The unit sold is usually 1. So it makes sense, right? Now with the simple steps that whichever you have followed, you have already done major analysis, both single factor and double factor analysis we have done. We have checked the count, we have checked the various columns available. So we have done a lot of actual work in these three series of video. So take a look at the earlier series also. You will get some good clarity on what is going on. Go to the PySpark notebook and start working on the commands. So it will be extremely helpful for you guys to practice, and I hope that you like this video. So do leave a like and subscribe to my channel for further updates on big data as well as LangChain Python library. So with this, I would like to take the leave, and as usual with 4 words: practice, 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 guys. Have a great time.